Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sara Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today, I'm excited to show you a beautiful collection from our friends at Graphic 45 called Flight of Fancy. We have papers, we have rub-ons, we have embellishments. These are so pretty and they're perfect for so many card occasions. So why don't we take a closer look, and we can start with our 8x8 pattern paper pack. I'll move aside our embellishments just for now so we can open this up and have a look. Now inside there are 24 sheets. You'll have 3 each of 8 double-sided papers. And you'll notice that some of them, like this one here, these can be cut out and used as card focals or for the inside of your card. Now the color palette includes some really beautiful pinks and oranges, teals, lots of bright, vibrant colors, and also this kind of pretty watercolor effect too. So you've got a really nice, vivid, colorful collection here to work with. Here's another one that you could easily cut apart and use those as focals. Butterflies and birds and lots of beautiful florals like this sheet here. So there's a lot to play with in this set. So 24 sheets, 3 each of 8 double-sided papers. Then to go along, we've also got some rub-ons. Now there are 2 sheets of rub-ons in this set, you can see here. And here you've got some elements like sentiments and the butterflies and the birds that can be used individually. You've also got some larger elements here that can be used as a corner treatment or a background, and they can blend into the background of whatever surface you're applying these to. So a lot of really nice possibilities there. You'll also have a craft stick to use as an applicator. And then finally, we have this set of 59 assorted die cut pieces. There are birds, feathers, flowers, and lots of other elements. Now they come in a variety of sizes, like this butterfly is quite large, and you've also got some smaller shapes in there too. And I just pulled out a couple and put them onto this beautiful floral background piece, just so that you can see some nice focal elements with a sentiment, also some smaller accent pieces here, as well as some border elements to go along. Now, of course, everything is designed to coordinate perfectly, so it makes it really easy to create beautiful cards with a vibrant watercolor look. I'm really glad that you're here today, and I'm excited to explore the creative possibilities with you. So come play with us. Let's start with this easy card, which features the pattern papers, die cuts, and rub-ons. Now I've also added in some contrasting glittery gold. So I have a glitter cardstock as part of my layered focal, and I'm using a gold glitter card base. So let me show you these. For my layered focal, I'm using one of these 8.5 by 11 sheets of gold glitter cardstock. This is from hot off the press. What I really like about this is that you can cut it with scissors, paper trimmer, or die cut it, and you won't have glitter particles sort of shedding all over the place. So I really like that. And I love that it just gives a little hint of shimmer and shine, and it really does contrast nicely with the colors in the pattern paper. So this is what I'm using for my focal element there. For my card base, I'm also using something from hot off the press. So this is one of their standard size card blanks. It is blank on the inside, just plain white, but the front and the back are both this beautiful glittery gold. And these also come in silver too, so if you like to go for a cooler tone, you can do that as well. But I really like these as my card base as well. So I've trimmed down my pattern paper slightly smaller than my card front. Now the pattern paper that I'm working with here is this one, which I think is just so beautiful. I love the combination of both larger and smaller flowers. You also have some hummingbirds in here and little butterflies. The color palette is just stunning. I think this is so beautiful. So I've trimmed that down, and then I matted it onto white cardstock. And these 2 layers are just simply glued right to the front of the card. Then I have my layered focal. And this is a series of straight and scalloped die cut squares. This is a die set that I use very often. You can see it's well loved. So it's the 10 square and scalloped cutting dies. You can see you've got a variety of sizes, all that nest together. So it makes it really easy to create these kinds of layered focals. So for my focal, that beautiful bird on there, well, that's from this sheet in the paper pack. And so I've taken one of my straight square dies and simply placed this down on here, and it just fits right in there. I use a little bit of my hunky-dory low-tack tape to secure that in place and then just run it through my die cutting machine. And then, of course, I can incorporate for my mats. I can use the slightly larger scallop, and then again with the straight edge there. So that's what I've got here with the white scallop and then the gold straight edge to create a really nice layered focal that will stand out from that beautiful background paper. And then I've also inked the edges of my pattern papers here with Midas Gold ink. And this is another one of my kind of go-to crafting tools. So this adds a really nice bit of subtle metallic gold around the outside edge there. Now I've also got a bow. This is tied in 1/8 of an inch wide ribbon, and I use the Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue to secure that in place. So I will add a little bit of glue, place down that ribbon, and then here's another little trick. So that it will glue securely in place, I take an acrylic block, a stamping block, and then I place that right on top, and that will add just enough weight to make sure that that glue adheres securely. But because you can see through it, unlike a book or something else heavy that you might put on there, you can see through here and make sure it doesn't kind of slide off to one side. So that's my little bow gluing trick. I always have an acrylic block on hand just for that purpose. Then for my card inside, I have a strip of pattern paper matted onto a bit of leftover gold glitter cardstock, plus a hummingbird die cut and a rub-on sentiment to finish it off. Now the rub-ons look great as sentiments for the inside of your card, and they also work beautifully as the card focal. So let me show you an example of that. This gorgeous butterfly focal is one large rub-on, which I've simply applied to white cardstock. Rub-ons are a great way to add color and texture to your projects without adding in a lot of bulk to your card. And they're really easy to apply, so let's have a look. First, I'll bring in a piece of plain smooth white cardstock and then one of the rub-ons from today's collection. So this really pretty floral collage, and I'm just going to simply place this down onto my cardstock, kind of smooth that down in place. Now the next step is burnishing this in place, and they do include a craft stick in the pack, so you can use this to simply burnish your rub-on in place. So what I like to do is kind of hold things down and burnish along, especially around the edges. When you have a really detailed element like with some of these leaves, you do want to make sure to really make sure those are fully transferred. So I'm using some firm, even pressure. If you have a bone folder on hand, that also works nicely as a burnishing tool, but it's nice that they include the craft stick here. Okay, so let's see how I've done. I'm going to pull this up slowly, because if there are any areas that I've missed, I can see a couple that I've missed down there, I could just pop it back in place and go back and add some more burnishing. I'll just go around again just to see if we've done a little bit better this time. And then slowly pull this up. Okay, walk around there. I know that I missed a bit of this petal here. So there we go. And there is my transfer design. The colors are really vibrant and beautiful, and I just love the detailing on here and how easy it is to simply apply. And of course, with something large like this, it gives you an absolutely stunning focal. So then back to the main part of my card. Well, I've used a rectangle die for the focal and then matted it onto a gold glitter scalloped rectangle. The rest of the card is a combination of pattern papers, and I'm making sure to include a white cardstock mat in between these two patterns for some contrast and to make sure that those two patterns aren't fighting with one another. The Hello Friend die cut is just overlapping these layers, and I really like how the orange contrasts with the blue in the pattern paper, and it also picks up the orange in the butterfly image. All of these paper layers are inked with Midas Gold. This portion is also popped up on some foam tape. Then for my card inside, I have a portion of this butterfly background rub-on, plus a cutout from the paper pack, which matches perfectly with the butterfly on the front of my card. I have another card project to show you. Now with this one, I've also used one of the background rub-on elements here to create this kind of shadow effect behind my focal. So where you see this kind of peachy pink and really beautiful yellow and orange, this is all one large rub-on. So I applied that onto white cardstock, and then I've added my focal up on top with a little bit of foam tape. Now I think that this just adds a really nice bit of pretty and very subtle color and dimension to the overall design. And again, I'm using rectangle and scallop dies to create my focal, which includes alternating white cardstock layers for some contrast. The bird and the butterfly are both popped up with foam tape, as is this sentiment down here at the bottom. And my pattern paper, which is cut slightly smaller than my white card, is inked with that Midas Gold. Then I've got another one of the white bows glued onto the card front, adding some nice texture. And for my card inside, I kept it really simple here. I just have two die cut elements, the bird and the sentiment here. And I think it's just really simple, but it provides a nice accent to match with the front of the card, but it also gives you plenty of space for your written message or for your signature. I absolutely love this large floral focal, and I knew I had to use it for a project. So here I've layered it onto a combination of pattern papers, and I've also used some vellum as a layer in here too, and I'll show you why. So the pattern paper that I have in this center section is this sheet right here, and you can probably notice the difference between these two just right away, and this is due to the vellum. So if I'm taking a patterned die cut, so for example this hummingbird here, and place it right onto that pattern paper, it can get kind of lost in all of the flowers. So a piece of white or clear vellum is a great way to soften the pattern while still keeping the colors and some of that texture and design in there too. Then I've got a couple of really versatile dies down here at the bottom of my card. So that banner and the word smile. The word smile is from the 9 Little Words set, and I've die cut it from gold glitter cardstock. Of course, that die cuts really beautifully, and then glued it onto a banner die cut, which is from the 8 Labels die set. And you can tell that this one has been in heavy rotation in my crafting stash, as it looks pretty well loved. But I do want to show you a little tip with the little words. So I'll use the word love here, and with my glitter cardstock, all I need to do is pop that down, secure it down again with some of my hunky-dory low-tack tape, and then run it through my die cutting machine. Now when you do that, you will have a really beautiful and fairly intricate word on here. How to glue this down without glue going everywhere? Well, Sticky Specs is a really great option. The other option that I like to recommend is Cosmic Shimmer Glue, which is a white glue, and a precision applicator. So I've put my Cosmic Shimmer Glue into this bottle. This is always out on my crafting stash, crafting table. And then what I'll do is use the applicator just to apply a very fine amount of glue to my die. So I'm not adding a whole lot of glue on here. I'm really just trying to hit the edges of this and then just kind of walk this around here. And then I can glue this in place. And that precision applicator really does help to make sure that you don't overdo the glue, which seems to be a challenge for most of us crafters. Now the other thing you can do too, if you really want to make sure that that's set in place, grab that acrylic block and pop it down on top, and it will secure in place. And then you've got a little pin that comes with the applicator, and you can just pop that back into the nozzle, and that will keep your glue from drying out, which is also really nice. So that's what I've done here to adhere my smile onto my banner. Then I've also got some Diamond Sparkles gemstones. These are from Hunky Dory, just little self-adhesive accents in there. And for my card inside, I have some more of the words from that die set, plus a butterfly rub-on. Our final card project is a window cut design, and I made this using my trusty rectangle cutting dies. So first, I've covered my card front with this beautiful collage pattern paper. I trimmed the paper slightly smaller than the card front, and then I've inked around the outside edges with Midas Gold before gluing it to the card front. And from there, I can cut my window. So let me show you the process here. I'll bring in a blank white card. So pretend that this already has its pattern paper added to it. And then I can decide what size and shape I want my window to be. So I'm using a rectangle. And the fun part here is you can play with the orientation of your card. You can also play with the positioning of your shape. So it could be in the middle. I've got mine kind of scooted off to the side. The fun thing here too is that you start to look at your basic shape dies in a different way, because you can use a rectangle, as I have. You can also use your square dies, your circle dies, your oval dies. As long as it will fit on the front of your card with a little bit of extra space, you can use it to create a window. So that's a really fun tip to keep in mind. So I've positioned the die on my card front and secured it down once again with my low tack tape. Now, one thing you want to make sure before you run it through your die cutting machine is to open up your card so you're only cutting through one layer. But again, just grab that tape, secure this in place, run it through your machine, and then you will have something that looks like this. Now, I put some orange cardstock in the back here so that you can see the contrast and you can see where that window shape will be. You can decorate around from here if you want. You can also add in a scalloped edge, and that's what I've done here. So you can see the scalloping around these two sides. Well, this is made with the nesting abilities of my nesting dies. So what I'll do here is take this same shape, and I'll grab a contrasting piece of cardstock here so that you can see it. I'll position this down, and then I'll take my larger nested rectangle, place that on top, and I could die cut these separately, but in this case I can also do these two together. Place them together, tack them down with some tape, and then run this through my die cutting machine. And then I will have my scalloped frame. And from here, I can simply glue this to my card front right on the outside, like so. And again, you can use your sticky specs to glue this down. You can also, of course, make use of that precision tip applicator to secure this down in place, and then you are ready to go. So it's a really fun and easy way to create something a little bit different on your card. So back to my card and the front of it here. So I mentioned I use this pattern paper here. Well, I want to show you this pattern paper as it comes in the paper pack. Now this is one that I thought originally, oh, I'll cut this apart and use the various sections for the inside, or maybe for a card focal, or maybe for some journaling on here. But I thought, you know, it can actually work beautifully as just regular background paper in there too. So that's what I've done here. Just trimmed it down and added it to the front of my card. And then for my window, I have some overlapping floral die cuts. I have a banner here, and then I've got a butterfly and the hello friend message. Now the message is popped up on foam tape, as is this butterfly here. And I've also got another little ribbon bow that's adding in a bit of softness. So then for my card inside, well, you can see part of it here, but let's open it up and you can see that I've got my pattern paper here. Now the pattern paper is this one, but when I was adding in my sentiment, again, as before, it kind of got lost, especially with all of these words. So I used some vellum on here to ghost that back a little bit. Then I've got a beautiful border down here. Well, this border was trimmed out from this sheet here, which could also be used as a background paper, but I've just snipped out that really sweet border on there and added this to the bottom, matted with some white cardstock. And then I've got my sentiment popped up with a little bit of foam tape. And that is our final project of the day today. So a big thank you to our friends at Graphic 45 for this absolutely stunning collection that was so fun to work with. And a special thanks to you for joining me today. We're really glad that you're here, and we're so happy that you're a part of our Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.